Brodes Media.
Let me throw this number at you. ESPN Analytics does something called Open Score, and I'll explain to you what they mean by it and then give you AJ scores. All right, so this is the way they assign and define Open Score. For every route run, Open Score assesses the likelihood a receiver would be able to complete a catch conditional on if he were targeted. So at the point of release, like when the quarterback is about to throw, they look at all the receivers in the route and decide, is he open or is he not, right? That's the way they do the score.
Yeah.
It's on a 0 to 100 scale. 100 means, like, that's the most open you could be. 0 means, obviously, you're completely covered. Are you ready for A.J. Brown's open scores
Let me hear.
over the last 5 years? Okay. A.J. Brown in 2021 had an open score of 99. In 2022, had an open score of 92. 2023, 82. 2024, 91. So in the last 4 years, somewhere between 82 and 91 on a scale of 1 to 100. Basically, he's open almost all the time, right?
Yes.
Always open, as his nickname. His open score so far this year is 52. 52 out of 100. So again, you could take that for what it is. It's a number. It's a analyzing of the play as Jalen's about to throw the football. It does play into, though, Hugh, what Jaws is saying.
Yeah.
What we heard Jason Avant say yesterday. Is he just not as open as he used to be? And if that's the case, then is he aware of this?
Okay. 50. Now, I don't know if that says everything. What stood out to me, though, is the years, if my math is correct, and I'm not misguided on which year was which year, but if I heard that correctly, the year he was at 80-something, where the rest of the years he was in the 90s, was with Brian Johnson. And now he's at 50 with Kevin Petula. Is there something to be said about the lack of awareness from the guy who was in the offensive coordinator role at the time? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. But an experienced Kellen Moore, he grades out in the 90s. A Shane Steichen who wins you a Super Bowl grades out in the 90s. When you have a first-time play caller in Brian Johnson, it's in the 80s, which is by far the lowest. 82 it was or so. And now you're in the 50s. How much of this is straight up offensive coordinator stinks, which again, on my bulletin board, he's the face and the culprit of the biggest issues. But is there now a layer of he's not capable? And let me be very clear. I'm not there yet. I don't think he grades out in the 50s because he's not athletic. He's not fast enough. He's not strong enough. I think he still has the... we watched him in the Rams in one half put up a hundo. Now, is he willing to use his skill set? Meaning, I seen some tape of him dogging it, of him not putting in all the work, him not blocking because he's pissed off. He looks mad. He looks aggravated. It's almost like allowing his frustration to limit what he's doing for his teammates on the field because he knows he's not getting the ball. Being lazy, being selfish. How much of the grading is because he's just not putting out his all because he feels disrespected and he's annoyed? That could be it too. But the thought of him not being able to, due to him being older, due to the wear and tear, that never crossed my mind. Let's listen to Jason Avant, who has had some success in this league. I think he's phenomenal when it comes to analyzing what's going on. This was his thoughts on NBC Sports Philadelphia during the post-game show.
I have to say this about A.J. Brown. I have to say this about it, is that A.J. Brown is being played like a receiver that can't run anymore. The secondary is looking at A.J. Brown like a guy that is reluctant to go by them, and that's what's happening. They're sitting on routes.
Yep.
So that's something that A.J. Brown has to look in the mirror and say, what am I doing in order to get this type of coverage? But they're playing him like his name is Jason Avant out there running go routes. You can't do that, right? So I think A.J. Brown has to do a little bit better when it comes to coming off the ball every single time. That third down late in the game, the last time they had the ball or, significant had the ball, It was an out route. First of all, he oversplit, meaning he split too wide, and it was an out route against zero coverage, and then he quit on the route. So you can't do those things, and that's something, if A.J. Brown wants the ball, you have to run the routes the right way and also come off the ball so guys don't sit.
All right, so listen, there's a lot there. There's a lot there. Are the routes being covered because it's by design? Meaning it's so obvious that they're running certain amount of route. If you have it on game film, and Dan Orlovsky broke this down, it was either week 1 or week 2, he's in the same position, being asked to run the same route 10 times in a game. Well, of course these other teams are jumping the route and not scared that you're going to beat them over the top route because you're running that same route. That's the route. It's just so glaring. It's just so obvious. It's just so stupid for an offensive coordinator to even put him in that position. How much of it is he's getting put in that position because he doesn't have as much in the tank to do X, Y, and Z? I don't think we're there yet. I don't think he's breaking down physically where that's where we're at. But he mentioned, too, the details of it. Avant said the detail. He's not putting in the work to do the right things from a detail standpoint. And isn't that Nick Sirianni's bread and butter? You have to be so dialed in and perfect every little minor part of each detail, and that's how you breed success. And now your biggest star, who's already complaining on Twitter, he's the culprit, and now he's running his mouth demanding to get the football more. It's a slippery slope. Because if you feed him more, then he probably pays attention to the details more, but that's not why you want to feed him more. You don't want to feed him more just to make him happy when he's dogging it when he's not happy. You know what I'm saying? You're almost rewarding the child that is crying and screaming and picking stuff up in the supermarket and throwing it against the wall just to get him to stop. And then you reward him with buying him candy. But you don't want to reward him by buying him candy. What you want to do is you were good in the store. You were great in the store. I'm buying you a chocolate bar for how good you were. You know, same thing I do with my dog. When I want them to stop barking at the mailman, I give him a treat. Well, I don't want to give him a treat to get him to stop barking. They shouldn't have been barking. I want to give him a treat because they did the right thing and they weren't barking. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to reward them for the right thing. But it's a slippery slope you got to deal with these divas. And A.J. Brown is a diva. This whole narrative that, well, he's not really a diva. He's a diva. It's a diva thing. You're 4-0. You just won a Super Bowl. Then he tweets a Bible verse about the best thing to do when you're not being appreciated, essentially, is to be quiet and to move in silence. And he posted about how you're supposed to move in silence. You're doing the opposite. You're doing the straight up opposite. He's the diva. It is what it is. And I guess you got to deal with it. Because that means you have great talent on your team. T.O., Diva, Super Bowl. No T.O., no Diva, no Super Bowls. You didn't even win it, but you see the difference you make when you bring in a guy like that. A.J. Brown means a lot. His presence alone means a lot. So you do have to find this balance. Even when he's not getting the box score filled out, and it's not as sexy as you would like, his presence alone, in theory, is still scary to the other team, to the point where it opens up a lot of other things. But that's, I feel, weighing a lot down in this locker room. You know what I hate? Why is AJ always getting picked up? Here we go again, the media. AJ Brown tweeted out a Bible verse after the 4-0 win, or the win to be 4-0, and declined to speak to the media. He is creating the story. If he spoke to the media, said things in a very professional manner, didn't tweet anything out, the next day, the next week, the next 6 days, get up on ESPN isn't opening up their show with "Do we have drama in Philadelphia?" Now, you may wonder if A.J. Brown wants to be a bigger part of the offense, things that, but the level that it gets to now and the can of worms that are opened, this is an A.J. Brown problem. Anybody covering the story looking at the different details of the story, wondering what this means. That's fair game when AJ handles it this way. And by the way, he's been here how long? This is what, the 6th time, 5th time we have this problem? And then he's going to play the woe is me game.